Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Gem City Gridiron Roundup podcast. As always, I am your host, Dalton Van Pelt. Scotch on the sidelines. With me, I have the dad himself, Zach Daddy.
That actually works with the D middle name. So yeah, Zach Daddy. Um yep, just by myself this week. Sarah's out on work. So I just got done putting Elliot down and we're
either. It only gets tougher with age.
is that you?
I don't know.
Maybe that was an ad on my computer. I think it might be because I had the Gamecast up.
Do you have Pro Football Reference up?
No, I don't.
Oh, and you have Gamecast?
I have Gamecast because my internet can't handle a Zoom call and live streaming, I don't think.
Well, knowing progressive can protect.
Yeah, that's it. I have multiple Gamecasts.
Found it.
So let me mute.
Okay.
Those. Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries.
But yeah, just getting Elliot down, and the house is a mess. I got to go clean the house after this. So yeah, but I'm ready to rock and roll. Talk a little bit of football.
Well, let's get it knocked out then.
Yeah.
All right. Eagles defeat the Vikings in an offensive shootout that we all saw coming. The Vikings, they're not going to win anything this year.
No, I've heard multiple things of the Vikings dangling. God, I gotta get this shit off. I can't do this shit. Why is it doing that?
ESPN.
Right.
That's why.
I'll just go to NFL.com. Yeah, I've heard people dangling the Kirk Cousins carrot being traded to a needy team, but I'm like, no, that's not possible. That'll take too much firepower for like the Jets or something. But yeah, I think they're just kind of, it is what it is, and Justin Jefferson's the man, and that's kind of what it is. Addison's getting loose a little bit. Hawkinson's doing fine. It's just when it comes down to it, they can't win that. Or I can't say they can't win the close games because they won a bunch last year. They're always in the game, whether it's a good team or a bad team, and you just can never decipher when that's going to be. And when
how much longer do you think they ride with Alexander Madison?
Until they trade for Cam Akers tomorrow?
I mean, it's worth like a 7th round draft pick 2 years from now to go get him.
In Dynasty?
What? No, for the
like the actual NFL, yeah. And yeah, that's just how it's going to be right now. They look terrible. Ty Chandler's looked pretty good in the short run that he's had, but they're just airing it out because they're getting down, and that's how they have to do it with Hawkinson, Addison, Jefferson, Hawkinson. Like that's kind of a weird group. Addison, Hawkinson, just like the sins. But that's just going to have
Jefferson, Madison,
Addison. That's a law firm.
Hawkinson.
The law firm of the guys that can't win. And it's crazy. Jefferson's been absolute stud. 25 points each of the last 2 weeks, but no touchdowns. But neither does
those are coming.
But neither does Puka Nacua.
Yep. DeAndre Swift and Devontae Smith go off. Jalen Hurts gets 2 on the ground. It makes up for his pick and his lackluster day through the air.
Push.
That's basically it. Better days are ahead for AJ Brown.
Yeah, he was getting a little upset on the sideline. But they all just want to score. That's part of it. So yeah, they're gonna be fine. The NFC is kind of a 2-horse race, in my opinion. Between the Eagles and the 49ers. They look like the 49ers look unstoppable. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, but I mean, oh God, yeah, it's a 2-horse race. That once the NFL season started, the Dallas Cowboys were eliminated from playoff contention. So their defense is no joke, and we'll get to them. But yeah, I think the Eagles are still better than the Cowboys. So
I agree. The Falcons start 2-0, taking down the Packers after the Packers stymied in the second half. I did watch this game. The Falcons were saying, we're going to run the ball and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, the Falcons. You're talking about the Falcons, right? Sorry, I missed it. My monitor went off.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just going to run the ball, whether it's Bijan or Tyler Algier. Bijan looks like a stud, and he's like the RB3 on the year just through 2 weeks, but he's getting half the snaps that, the other stud running backs are getting. So he's a man on a mission. He's running it's like 70% of the routes when they throw the ball, and he's getting like so many targets and so many catches in the passing game where it doesn't matter if they mix in Tyler Algier, 8 to 12 touches a game. Doesn't matter. He's going to be fantastic.
So watching the game flow, in the first half, they were kind of like spelling them. One would come off, the other one would come on. And then in the second half, they said, screw it, we're putting them both on the field.
Yeah.
So they would run either like powers with Algier, who's more of a north-south runner, and then split Robinson out wide, either in like the slot or tight end or out wide. He had this slant route that was like an under.
Oh, so nasty
route tree.
Yeah.
Because the Packers had to motion their middle linebacker over, who had no pace whatsoever, and Robinson just went under both the other receivers, caught the ball for the first down.
Is that when he had broke 3 ankles?
No, that was a run up the gut, I believe, but that was nasty.
Okay. Yeah, that was gross.
He did contribute in the receiving game, which made his day exceptional.
Oh, yeah, both games he's done that. Sorry, I'm kind of catching up on the games just now.
No worries. The Falcons will return back down to where they're going to be, but they're still going to keep running the ball. And worst case scenario, if they're down bad, Bijan sells a place to be because he's like their slot receiver.
Oh God, yeah, he's just so good. We can't, say enough good things about Bijan. I wish I'm pretty sure Luke's kicking himself in the foot for not taking Bijan at 3. That's what he told me he was going to do if McCaffrey wasn't there. Luke, you shoulda, coulda, woulda. But he would have been looking good. Jamar Chase has better days coming too, and we'll touch on them. But he's just the talk of the town right now, Bijan Robinson.
The Bills take the Raiders to the woodshed as everyone expected. I believe this game was relatively close in the first half. Kind of.
Yeah, I didn't catch a lot of this game. I had Red Zone on. I had Red Zone on for the first part of the day. Yeah, they just kind of handled business. I believe Josh Jacobs had 9 carries for -2 yards. I don't know how that's possible, but he does get it done through the air. 6 or 7 catches and a touchdown. So he services manageable day. But yeah, 9 carries for -2 yards is not something that you're very proud of. Other than that, Josh Allen just kind of dinked and dunked his way around the field, and Gabe Davis had a nice day. Diggs had an okay day. All the running backs had solid days. James Cook had all the catches and inside the 20 or from the 20 to the 20. And then the Latavius and Damon Harris both get the rushing touchdowns at the end of it. Good day for the Bills. One of the weirdest stats I saw from that game though was I believe the Bills ran over 70 plays and the Raiders ran under 40. Just absurd differences in the game.
They just didn't have the ball, apparently.
Yeah, the Bills just had long drives and just took it on the woodshed. Devontae Adams left the game late. He's fine. They were out without Jacoby Myers this week from the concussion last week. That guy needs to get suspended.
If you thought Hunter Renfrow was going to have a role this week, you were very sorely mistaken. He did nothing.
Yeah, he's not in the
he's
coaching.
not in the plans.
No, he's not. I wouldn't be surprised if he's dealt at the deadline or something. I'm pretty sure they tried to trade him.
I didn't see
But
this game either, but it was a good one. Ravens 27, Bengals 24. Joe Burrow, excuse me, just a rough day at the office. T. Higgins, after coming out and being vocal about not having a contract in place,
mhm,
a contract extension in place, they feed the beast.
they do.
Jo- Joe Mixon gets just enough to be serviceable. And Gus Edwards has a nice day.
Yeah, that backfield's going to be a little weird. Gus Edwards is just going to get all the work on the ground and in the red zone. Justice Hill's going to get all the work in the green zone, and that's just kind of is what it is. Fuck yeah. Sorry. There's the first curse word.
OBJ with another 5-point performance, and he comes out with a twisted ankle.
Yeah, and right after that, Bateman played a lot more, which is weird that Rashad Bateman is behind Odell Beckham, but that is what it is. Zay Flowers looks amazing. Yeah, he's the real deal.
He's got burst.
Yeah, he looks really good. Mark Andrews, first game back. They didn't need him last week. They gave him the extra week of rest. He comes out and does what Mark Andrews does. I think better days are ahead. I mean, I know the Ravens are 2-0, but there's going to be better days ahead for the Ravens. Getting used to their new offensive coordinator and kind of waiting to see if they add a back. Maybe Cam Akers to the Ravens would be interesting. But I
Still
think
Kareem Hunt out there too.
Yeah, and Leonard Fournette. Like there's backs out there, but like they've been waiting for the contract, and we'll get to this as well. But Nick Chubb went down in the first half, carted off the field. Don't know the extent of that injury, but I guess he came down. It must have been in the red zone on the goal line, because that's the last notification that I had that they were in the red zone. And then the next
I think
notification
it was
I
his
had,
right knee.
yeah, Cart came out immediately. Not looking good for probably one of the best running backs in the league. He looks so good.
All right. The Giants save their day with a minute to go and saved a lot of people's pick 'em.
I don't know how
Eliminator.
people would pick the Giants after last week.
I
Man,
did. I figured they're going to bounce back.
everyone is perfect so far. I don't know who. I know there were some games today that people picked.
Yeah.
But so far, everyone is safe going into next week. Just Drew and the Stewart brothers are out.
I don't know who the last 3 picked that haven't been marked as safe yet.
I'll look.
I would assume the Saints, but
I would assume the Saints. I don't know why you would pick the Browns or the Steelers. So
yep. So Saquon goes down. Arizona, they started really hot. They were up 28-7 at one point. James Conner was trying to ice the game out, and it just did not happen. Marquise Brown with a nice day.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
you're good.
Hopefully, he has a connection with Dobbs.
Yeah, the Giants they didn't score till the third quarter, so it took them 7 quarters of NFL football to score. Just they look atrocious. Yep, all 3 picks, Blaster, Garrett, and Heath, are on the Saints tonight.
Which they are marching down the field right now.
Yeah, that's a good pick. It looks like all 9 are going to be moving on if everything holds.
The Cowboys demolish the New York Jets with Garrett Wilson. Once again, the offense did not look that in sync. They kind of force-fed CD Lamb, and that was the entire game plan. Deuce Vaughn saw some action, so that was cool. And the Jets just could not really do anything.
Yeah, that's just it's Zach Wilson. That they're not going to go anywhere with Zach Wilson, and they know it. They should have addressed this in the offseason. Maybe that's something that they thought they could handle with Aaron Rodgers and mentoring Zach Wilson, but he's still the same bad quarterback. They should have went out and got some sort of quality backup, but people hold on to the quarterbacks so long. Like, I wish they would have been able to get breaking news: Browns fear Nick Chubb season over with possible knee dislocation and multiple ligament damage.
Oof.
So looking like a Javonte Williams situation. About the same time Javonte tore it last year, week 1 or week 2. So that's a bummer for Nick Chubb. But going back to
Chris
Zach Wilson,
Olave just scored a 16-yard touchdown.
nice.
Nope, he's going to be ruled out before he scored.
They needed to invest like in a quarterback. I don't know why they didn't keep Mike White. Maybe they're just keeping Zach Wilson because you get that 5th-year option, but they're going to decline that 5th-year option. So I don't know why you just don't move on, trade him, get something for him. Like, shit. I mean, Trey Lance went for a freaking 3rd-round pick. I mean, you can't trade Zach Wilson for a 4th and do something. Like, Trey Lance hasn't
Nobody
done,
wanted him.
and not many people wanted Trey Lance either.
We've seen Zach Wilson.
True.
We know what he is.
Yeah, but you need to be able to move on and upgrade that backup quarterback position, whether it's a Gardner Minshew or like I said, Mike White was serviceable last year with Miami, or with the Jets, and now he's down in Miami. I just don't see how they're going to go anywhere this year with Zach Wilson being the quarterback. And it's a shame because they have the roster that's capable with an amazing defense. I mean, kept the Cowboys in check to kick a bunch of field goals, and they had the reigning offensive and defensive rookie of the year. Breece Hall looked amazing in his first game back. Dalvin Cook looks washed up, and it's just sad because I think that they could have competed this year, and I don't think they'll be able to compete with Zach Wilson. I'll get off my high horse with Zach Wilson.
No running back could do anything against this Cowboys front.
Well, they abandoned the run. That's part of it. But still, but Dallas defense.
They also didn't have plays, just like
Zach Wilson's the quarterback.
Raiders did not have any plays.
Yeah, that it is what it is. I don't know what to think of them the rest of the year. Hopefully, they figure something out. They're these next couple of weeks are just terrible for the Jets too. They have to play New England and I believe San Francisco. It's just going to be bad.
I don't even remember this dude's name. Tony Jones Jr. for
Tony Jones
rushing touchdowns.
Mike
Williams. Jamal Williams left with an injury during this game, so that makes sense.
So 2 running backs on today's games are out currently.
All right. Commanders beat the Broncos, even though the Broncos did their best. I watched this highlight of this touchdown.
Yeah, I watched the last game. That was it. The last part of the game.
The whole last drive was so impressive. Outside of that, the Broncos should have put this game away multiple times and did not.
Yeah, the Broncos should have easily won this game. But Brian Robinson looks amazing. He might be a top 10 running back. I mean, well, obviously he's a top 3 running back right now. But they just keep feeding him. And it's Brian Robinson. It's not Antonio Gibson. And that is what it is. Sam Howell looks pretty good. Terry McLaurin had a better day at the office.
Yep.
Did catch a touchdown in double coverage. It was a forced throw. But Patrick Surtain was kind of locking him down until then. Yeah, I don't know what else to make of the Broncos. I know they caught a couple of long touchdowns. Marvin Mims went for 2 for 115, but he only caught 2 passes, 1 for a deep touchdown, another 50-yard bomb later. He only played 15 snaps. So you can't really play him. Same with
unfortunately not.
Yeah. So it's kind of hit and miss right now for them. I think over the course of the year, they're going to work in the rookies. That's kind of how it goes. Jerry Jeudy first came back from the hamstring injury that he had in camp, played a lot of snaps. So he should be getting going too. Cortland Sutton looked okay, but it's going to take some time for Russ to mesh with all those receivers, even though he's had a year, but under Sean Payton, it's going to take a little bit longer, and still probably the third best team in that division.
Seahawks beat the Lions in overtime. I have no information from this game outside of what the box score shows me, which is that Kenneth Walker found the end zone 2 times.
Geno Smith had another fantastic hot mic. Obviously last week he had the Aaron Donald thing. I guess I didn't see it. I saw just the highlight. He got called for intentional grounding. The ref was explaining intentional grounding, and Gino came up to him and was trying to talk to him while he was on the hot mic, and the refs, stopped and said, "I'm talking to America."
Oh,
Just
yeah.
great, just great stuff. Great stuff. One of the best lines from an official, probably for all season. "I'm talking to America. Hold on."
David Montgomery has a nice day, but then ends up injured for
Yep.
the Lions.
He's listed day to day. They say it's a thigh injury. Could be a bruise. Don't really know. We'll see more. Jahmyr Gibbs. Obviously, their other back is Craig Reynolds. St. Brown kind of was in and out. He had an okay game. Who was it? Josh Reynolds had a fantastic game. Again, that's back-to-back weeks. Drew has him locked up right now. Got him for cheap last week. Good pickup by Drew. The Lions look good. Kind of a letdown after the high last week of beating the Chiefs. There's good things for the Lions. Could be the best team in that division. The Packers look okay once they start getting all their weapons back, Christian Watson and Aaron Jones. But
they should have won this last game.
They should have. But Detroit looks good, and they could possibly win that division, depending on what happens when they play in their division. But they look good. It's a team that people have high hopes for.
The Colts beat the Texans just before Anthony Richardson got knocked out with concussion, basically. Richardson scores the touchdown, his head whips into the ground, and then he's out with concussion.
Yep. Scored 2 rushing touchdowns before he got put out of the game. Yep. Called it a day. Had a nice, in our league, about 15 points in, a quarter and a half. And those rushing touchdowns make a big difference. And he's looked like the best rookie quarterback through, by far. CJ Stroud looked pretty good yesterday. But that's, back against the wall, having to throw it a lot. But Richardson looks like the best rookie quarterback right now. He can run it. He's actually thrown into tight windows, and he just looks really good. Who's that? Shane Steichen was the OC in Philly last year. And obviously that's why Gardner Minshew came too. It's kind of the same system. But if you watch the game before Richardson went out versus when Gardner came in, 2 different offenses, which is great. So it kind of keeps everybody on their toes. What can happen? Gardner, picked apart the zone defenses. Michael Pittman had a nice day. It was the Zach Moss show. I believe Zach Moss had only 1 snap. He did not play in that game. He had a nice 20-point game. Kind of wait and see what happens with Jonathan Taylor. He could be a guy that's on the move too. He could be going to Minnesota. He could be going to Baltimore. He could be going to the Browns. We don't really know. But yeah, we'll see how Zach Moss is still involved if and when Jonathan Taylor comes back. For the time being, he is a starting running back right now, which is not many running backs are starting right now.
He's worth playing.
Oh yeah, by far. Good pickup.
But he won't be anybody once Jonathan Taylor comes back, as long as Indianapolis keeps him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kansas City sweated out against the Jaguars. There was a point in this game where I figured the Jaguars were going to win it, and they chose not to.
Yeah. Kind of a letdown. That was kind of what everyone wanted to watch, was the Chiefs and the Jaguars. Etienne had a mediocre day. The return of Travis Kelce, he did get into the end zone. I don't know if I haven't seen the snap counts yet, but I would bet that he didn't play over 60% of the snaps. As he's coming back from that. Yeah, probably coming back from that knee injury. But the Chiefs do Chief things. Kadarius Toney has a better day. Sky Moore has a good day. That's kind of about it.
I watched this game, and the wide receivers are bad.
Oh God, they're
I
love those guys. I love Kadarius Toney.
I know, but they're as a collective, they're bad. The Chiefs need to do something about their wide receiver room. They need to add a body that can be more reliable.
Hunter Renfrow.
Oh, interesting.
Well, people thought it could have been Mike Evans, but the Bucks aren't selling at this point.
Remember all the Christian Kirk words about last week. Well, he comes out and he shines. Calvin Ridley had 8 targets. He had multiple times where he should have had ginormous plays or touchdowns,
Mhm.
and it just got broken up at the last second, or he was just barely out of bounds. I think there were 2 touchdown catches he had where he was just barely out of bounds.
Yeah. He's going to be solid all year long. Like, he has not missed a step after being suspended all of last year and then missing half the season the year before that. He's coming out looking fantastic. Trevor Lawrence likes him. Zay Jones has looked pretty good. Obviously, it just depends on the game. Like, they ran a lot more 3 wide sets against the Chiefs because you're going to need to kind of spread it out and get going. Chris Jones made a big difference with the Chiefs. Getting him back, getting him and Travis Kelce back definitely made a big difference this week.
Bill Belichick is no match for Mike McDaniel this week. Tyreek finds the end zone. Jalen Waddle has a nice day, although he is hurt.
Concussion protocol.
Kind of.
Concussion protocol.
And then Raheem Mostert runs rampant.
Yeah. Solid game. Fun fact, I believe Tua is 5-0 against Bill Belichick. That is something that's kind of,
they beat him all the time, but
they've won 5 straight ever since Tua got in the league. So that's an interesting stat. Granted, one of them was the debacle, Kenyon, I think it was Kenyon Drake, that one when Gronk was way in the back. Oh yeah, that thing was terrible. Like 2 years ago, I think
that's when it started.
Yeah. Dolphins look good. Kept Tyreek Hill in check, but the Dolphins are going to find a way to get it done. It was Raheem Mostert. They ran him pretty well and 2 touchdowns on the ground for him. Better days ahead for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And don't have a whole lot to say about New England except Hunter Henry is a tight end 1, which not a tight end 1, like a tight end 5 and up right now. He's the guy that's been running the most routes. He's catching balls, catching touchdowns. It's kind of weird to see last week Kendrick Bourne ran like 98% of the routes, and this week he ran 52% of the routes. So it's something that, like, you can't really trust the Patriots offense except maybe Hunter Henry and Ramondre Stevenson. Those are going to be the guys that are going to get the most work. The receivers are just going to kind of move them around because Devontae Parker was back this week and he ran like 99% of the routes. So it's going to be really weird with that wide receiver core, whether it's Devontae Parker, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kendrick Bourne, Demario Douglas is their young rookie. They'll have Tyquan Thornton coming back from IR. It's just going to be kind of a modge podge. So if you think the Chiefs wide receivers suck, Patriots might have a worse one.
Yep. The Chargers cannot get it done again against the Tennessee Titans this time. Keenan Allen, I'm not sure who covered him throughout this game, but he just absolutely abused the secondary. He abused the secondary. I saw just a few highlights, and it was brutal.
The answer was no one covered him.
He was open all day.
All day long.
Obviously, Mike Williams also had 13 targets on 8 catches, but it was clear that Keenan Allen could not be guarded.
Yeah, it's just sad. Like, it's a different year. It's the same Chargers. Like Denver will probably finish better than them. And I say that Denver's the third best team in that division. But when it comes down to football, Denver's probably going to finish second in that division because the Chargers can't get out of their own freaking way.
Phillip Rivers effect. Always down 7.
Yeah.
2 minutes to go.
Yeah, they can't stop anybody. Their defense is horrendous besides Joey Bosa. And they can't cover anybody. Obviously Derrick Henry's a beast, but they just kind of worked them all the way around, and it wasn't even pretty. But the Chargers still can't find their way. Yeah, it could be the Phillip Rivers effect. Drew Brees before that. They just, and Justin Herbert is, an amazing quarterback, and it's just going to be one of those things, and especially in the AFC where we see it all the time. The AFC has always been loaded. The NFC is usually 2 or 3 teams. But it's going to be tough for the Chargers to rack up some wins, and especially in that division and, in that conference. Eckler was out,
McCaffrey.
obviously. So
Yep,
that
Eckler is out, and report came out there's no timetable for his
Mhm.
return currently.
So it looks like Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly had most of the touches, just didn't do anything with them. That is Tennessee's strong suit, which they're how you attack Tennessee is through the air, which is what Mike Williams and Keenan Allen did. But yeah, better days ahead, but they do need Austin Eckler back. Another running back that's not playing.
Christian McCaffrey shows why he is the best running back in the league in this one. Debo does find the end zone on the ground, which helps out.
Mm-hmm. It's not even close. Christian McCaffrey might be one of the best running backs we've ever seen. He's so good.
He is disgusting.
It's funny. I always love when he goes off and there's like the longest yard meme where Stone Cold Steve Austin takes off his helmet. He's like, that's how a white boy runs the football. Like it's just like it's one of the best memes out there, especially when McCaffrey goes off, which is like every
That's
freaking
funny.
week. And he's just so good. Like everyone thought he was, going to come to San Francisco and it's such an efficient offense and they're not going to, rack up all the touches with him because they have Elijah Mitchell and they have, a good scheme and they're not going to have to give him the ball 25, 30 times. Shanahan Jr. said, screw all that. McCaffrey played every single snap of the game, and got every running back touch. And if they do that, he's gonna put up another, Christian McCaffrey season of 400 points and just run away with the RB1. And you need him to win. He's so good.
They kind of needed him to do that in this game because it was relatively close. The Rams had no issue moving the ball clearly with the 20 targets to Puka Nacua. Tutu Atwell is surprisingly small as a human.
Yeah.
I saw him play for a little bit. I had like a 20-minute preview of Red Zone. He is tiny.
Yeah. And my vote coach of the year is Sean McVay because Sean McVay is getting it. I mean, they're 1-1, but they're getting stuff done with Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, and Tutu Atwell. No Cooper Kupp. They're gonna trade Cam Akers. Matthew Stafford is slicing and dicing people right now. And that's how Stafford is. He's so good. And
looks like the turnovers killed him.
Yeah, it's just going to be like when Cooper Kupp comes back, Van Jefferson's hitting the bench. It's Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Tutu Atwell, and they're just Matthew Stafford's just gonna dice people up. Kyron Williams is catching the ball in the backfield. He's getting some run on the ground, and the offense looks amazing. And their defense is okay, and they got a bunch of 4th and 5th round picks on the defense. It's besides Aaron Donald. But it's been amazing to watch these first 2 weeks of what he's been doing with, the talent. Puka Nacua. I just can't get over the name Puka Nacua. But he's got 35 targets in 2 games. He had 15 targets last week and 20 freaking targets this week. It's
those some Madden stats.
It's unbelievable. I almost who would have known the 3 people that the waiver wire darlings are Puka, Tutu, and Kyron Williams, all from the same offense, all producing. And there's another one. I should have. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I had a high bid on Puka, and I lowered it.
So did I, but it was not high enough.
Oh, I was in the 400s. And I backed off because I needed Kyron Williams. And I was like, well, I shouldn't spend 70% of my money. I should have spent 70% of my money and said, screw it. And that's fine. I have wide receiver depth, but I got Kyron Williams. I'm okay with that. But they look unbelievable. And they're not a playoff team. But they're going to be fun as hell to watch all year long, especially if Cooper
Kupp's just going to slide right in there. Just a little tangent about Van Jefferson. He was so highly rated going into drafts, and he was on my do not draft list because I've watched him play football before. and apparently nobody who was writing these fantasy articles have. Obviously, they thought he had the opportunity, but he's just not exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, and shit, I've done, I don't even know how many drafts I did. 160, 170 drafts over this offseason. Yeah, you have some Van Jefferson, but like the player, like you know what you're getting from these Van Jeffersons and players like that have been in the league. Like they're not going to give you that league winning upside. In best ball, totally different. Like you might get a spike week here and there, but like when you're playing like managed leagues, like what do those players do for you? Why don't you? I'd rather take an upside swing on, like a Puka or like one of those rookie receivers, Jonathan Mingo, Marvin Mims. Like, at least you don't know what they are. Like take a swing instead of picking Van Jefferson. Like I know people picking on Van Jefferson, but like same thing with Adam Thielen. Like, yeah, Adam Thielen might get you.
He just scored a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
Okay, that's not a great example anymore. But either way, but like you kind of know what you're getting, especially from these field stretchers, like a Marquez Valdez Scaling. It's the same thing. Like he's gonna be like he's a good football player. Like he's an actual good NFL player. But
he's just a bad
for fantasy, yeah, like you just don't need it. Same thing with Van Jefferson. You're never gonna be able to start him in the right weeks. Best ball, whole different animal. But yeah, managed. Take an yeah, that's my philosophy. Take an upside swing on rookies, running backs. Like you're never going to be able to start those guys.
Tampa and the Fighting Bakers take care of the Bears. The running backs couldn't do anything in Chicago, and that includes Justin Fields, the running back. DJ Moore gets his share of the targets after once again critiques in the media over usage. Rashad White finds the end zone to make his day look better than it was, and critiques in the media. Mike Evans on the trade block. Some thought he goes off as well.
Yeah, that's back-to-back weeks. He's had a good game. Baker's looking pretty sharp. And
yes,
in that division, like anything's possible in that division.
Could win it.
Could win that division. I don't think they will, but so much for the Bucks to be a bad team and sellers try to trade Mike Evans and stuff like that. Like they're not trading anybody right now. And they've rallied around Baker Mayfield, and he's kind of looking like Baker of his rookie year. And just kind of going out and playing and maybe, just maybe, hear me out, that they've played two of the worst teams in the NFL when the Bears and Minnesota's defense. Like those two defenses are trash. Everyone's going to be good against those defenses. So maybe it's just those guys, and maybe when they get some tougher matchups, it'll be a little bit different story. But good for them. Like it's kind of fun to watch them play now that I'm out of the Eliminator League. So
New Orleans is playing a very conservative style of football to start the year. They once again won a tight one against the Panthers. However, the final touchdown and 2-point conversion to draw it closer was in kind of garbage time situation. Saints recover the onside kick and take the win.
What?
Chris Boswell just hit a 50-yard field goal to make it 16 points for the Steelers. And that is the update on the IRL football.
1 second.
I'm waiting 1 second.
I know. I'm like toggling back and forth between screens, and some are darker and some are lighter. I need the lighter screen to keep my video good.
Holy cow. Dark Horse is still projected to score almost 200 points.
Yeah, I'm getting my ass kicked.
Okay, so let's get to the matchups that mattered. I take care of Blaster basically in the morning window because almost all of his players were in the morning window. I had 3 wide receiver injuries in one day.
I need to get another beer.
That wasn't great. Okay, get another beer. I'll keep rattling off.
Yeah.
I will pause when I get to yours. Okay. Looks like Drew just now finished. He will secure the win against Lucas, moving to 1-1. That is a huge win for him. 25 points from Tyler Lockett to seal the deal. Moving on, Sackett edges it out over Heath to get his first win of the year, 144 to 131. Cole gets his first win of the season against Patrick. Maybe not. That is still ongoing. We have Deshaun Watson and a Browns defense still playing, although not looking likely. The projection still has Patrick winning.
Yes.
Lean gets his first win against Brinkman, scoring 173 points. A lot of high-scoring teams this week. There was a lot of high-scoring fantasy games, so that makes sense.
Yes.
And finally, Zach allowed the Skins winner to take place against him.
Yes. Garrett is still projected to score 195. I don't know if that's going to happen. He's got Najee Harris still. But I mean, I'm okay. I mean, I score 126 and with, Breece Hall scores 0.9 points. Otherwise, I mean, I'm okay with whatever happened. Like Kyron Williams, bright spot, Hunter Henry, bright spot. Like you said, AJ Brown, better days. Jordan Addison's been a good thing for me. Got the Dallas kicker for a nice solid 18 points. Giants defense won't do that shit again. I should know better. But no matter what I would have done, would not have mattered much for me. One other thing is it. Am I the last matchup?
Yep.
Okay.
I rattled through.
So one thing I'm keeping track of this entire season, I'm doing a Gem City alternate universe tally. So basically every week I'm taking all the winners or all the teams, and if teams were to set their perfect lineup, how would the Gem City Gridiron end up if people set perfect lineups? Just to kind of see how that would look at the end of the year. I'm not going to give them any updates till we get like closer to the playoffs and kind of see how that would do. But just something funny to see, if people were to set perfect lineups, how it would end up being. And we did talk at the draft, what we wanted to do with that other, like, I think it was $50, I think it was $100. I think what we should do, is an additional $50 will go to the highest skin of the year. So whoever puts up the highest point total in 1 week, that week will then you'll get your $25. But you'll tack on another 50 for the year if you score the highest week total. So like if Garrett were to be if 195 would not be topped, Garrett would get an additional 50. So that's something I'll be
That
keeping.
is an interesting thought. All right.
Yeah.
Jerome Ford just ripped off a 70-yarder and fell half a yard short of the end zone, so they had to pull him out because he was gassed.
Yeah, I picked up Jerome Ford.
Oof. Before the game?
Yesterday.
Oof. Wow.
Good
old Monday night cuff pickup.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up Melvin Gordon just to kind of see what he would do because I'm short on running backs right now, and so he was one of the Monday night guys, and he had the best contingency value. Obviously, you don't root for anything, but kind of luck boxed into not spending $400. So that's good for
Pierre
me.
Strong Jr. vultures the touchdown.
Yeah. That's
okay. Did you prepare bets?
No, man. I've been. My house is still a mess. You think I have time for bets right now?
Do we want to table it for next week since we're still not 100% prepared?
Yeah. Next week I'll be more prepared. I'll come with the bets and we'll do the bets that matter. We'll do three bets like we always do. And I don't know what we want our end of the year to be, but
Oh man, George Pickens had a 71-yard touchdown.
yeah.
My man.
So, do you have Pickens on your team?
Dynasty.
Oh yeah, we should do a little. I mean, only some people are in the
Yeah.
dynasty league, but this is just something to shoot the shit on. Um, let's see here.
And then I have to go when we get done with the dynasty.
Yeah,
I expected, am not going to win anything this year
in dynasty,
in the dynasty.
you do have Puka Nakua. You could sell him for a lot.
That's a good point.
You could sell him. Let's see here.
That might not actually be a bad idea. Because I really don't think I'm going to win anything. I hadn't thought about that. Because I have wide receivers going out my ass. The only problem is like I'd want to trade it for a running back, and there just really isn't anything for running backs.
What? Yeah. We can talk off air on that. But some people in the dynasty league. Obviously, I'm in that league. Luke's in that league. Blaster, Sackett, you. So 5 of it's just an 8-man dynasty. But it's been kind of fun to do that. Looks like, yeah, Sackett put up 207 points this week. I put up 175.
I actually think I would have beat almost everybody else this week. So I'm not as down bad as I thought.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Something fun to look at. But my phone is blowing up right now. I have no idea.
Sean Watson rushing touchdown.
Deshaun Watson?
Rushing touchdown.
I thought you said Pierre.
Or maybe it was a 2-point conversion. I don't know. Yeah, it probably was a 2-point conversion because they were at 20-19. So they probably went for 2 to make it a 3-point game.
Sorry. What'd you say?
I think they went for 2.
Okay.
Because Scorigami. They needed a 3-point win. Yeah. A 3-point lead.
Yeah. We'll do a quick preview for next week before we get sidetracked. I will be taking on Heath. 1-1 for me. Lean will be looking to play Patrick. That should be a good one. We got the Brink Bowl. We got Stewart and Garrett, the Brink Bowl.
Brink Bowl.
We have Drew versus Cole. We have Dalton versus Luke.
I will be second in the league going into this matchup.
And we have Sackett versus Blaster.
There's only 2 2-0 teams.
Who will that be?
Me and hold on, I just had it.
Garrett.
Yeah, unless the scores have changed, which they have not. So it's literally just me and Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett's got me in points since there's not really any tiebreakers that matter in that matchup.
One other side note, I want to congratulate Stuart Brinkman with the birth of their daughter, their second kiddo. So the Gem City Gridiron kids are growing in numbers. So kiddo was actually born on opening day or opening Sunday. So so good for them.
That's cool.
And sorry I had to beat you on opening day, buddy. Anything else, Dalton?
All right.
We'll be a little bit more prepared next week, guys. It's been a heck of a couple weeks. But yeah, itching for another long season. That's kind of how it goes. Long season. We're just at the beginning, and it's going to take all year to determine a champion.
All right. See you next week.